What are they putting in the water in China? My god, they can't stop cooking! So, you like the 2D animation style of 2B Hero X, but don't have anything similar to hold you over until Season 2 releases? Well, do I have a treat for you. Fog Hill of Five Elements is an ongoing Chinese donghua, with 2 seasons currently released and a third and final one allegedly on the way. It's an original net animation, otherwise known as ONA, meaning that it was created with the intention of being released directly online. In other words, it wasn't created for TV broadcasts, like how most traditional Japanese anime are. In addition to this, there's no source material, in the same vein as other donghua like 2B Hero X and Link Click. This is a show that was created from the ground up as the series we're seeing. This can be a great attribute for a series, and with the right team behind it, can showcase talent that would otherwise go unnoticed. However, on the flip side, it can also be to the detriment of a series, as having an established, long-running IP to work with from the beginning can give you a solid baseline plot and a glimpse into where the series is heading. So let's take a look together at Fog Hill of Five Elements. This is Zhuan, one of the 5 elemental envoys of Fog Hill. Like the name of the show, you know, Fog Hill, 5 elements? Alright, my bad. To give a brief summary of who these 5 elemental envoys are and what their purpose is, essentially, the 5 elemental aspects or envoys are warriors from 5 different clans representing the 5 elements: metal, wood, water, fire, and earth. A long time ago, demons used to roam free and wreak havoc on the humans who lived near their settlement at Fog Hill. The 5 elemental envoys of a previous generation worked together to drive the demons back into Fog Hill and sealed them there shortly thereafter, preventing them from roaming around and murdering the locals. Only with the combined power of the 5 envoys, generation after generation, can the seal be maintained. You can think of them kind of like pillars holding up a ceiling. If one of the pillars breaks, the ceiling will lose stability. Nobody wants a collapsed ceiling. So back to our main character, Zhuan. He's the current aspect of fire, and in the first scene, we see him breaking open that seal I just mentioned, releasing a mythical demon and starting a fight with him. As viewers, we have little to no context regarding this encounter for a long time, but trust me, it all gets explained eventually. Zhuan loses to the demon pretty quickly, with the other elemental aspects showing up and asking him what he's doing. He broke the seal and got whooped? Not a great look for your coworkers. While all this is happening, the demon's child, who also came through the seal, ends up leaving during the fight. Needless to say, this is not a great development for anyone involved. The demon then kidnaps the 2 individuals who came with Zhuan, stating that he'll return them safely if his son is returned as well. Kind of an agreeable individual, not gonna lie. Everything is in disarray due to the seal being tampered with. The demon realm where that big dude came from is now in chaos. A truly insane start to our story. We then cut to 3 years later. Zhuan has been laying low in a remote area of the mountains, having been banished from his clan due to his actions. A local village girl stumbles upon him, and they strike up somewhat of a friendship. However, this quickly gets overshadowed by the quite urgent matter of 3 mysterious intruders who are attacking the village. The fight progresses, and they're revealed to be incredibly strong. They're demons. Did you think they weren't going to be demons? Of course they're demons. This revelation showcases that even 3 years later, things are still quite tumultuous. Demons are able to escape the seal, albeit in small batches for now. Zhuan steps in, and this fight leads to our main plotline. Zhuan seeking to right his wrongs, setting off on a pilgrimage to fix the mistake he made years earlier, discovering that everything may not be as black and white as he initially thought. Let me start off by saying that Fog Hill of Five Elements is a beautiful show. It's absolutely stunning, and whenever you see a moment that you think can't be topped, I assure you it will be. Time after time, I found myself impressed with the fights in this series, both the visual style I presented to you thus far and how it can change on a dime to something wholly different yet equally impressive. And on top of this, the choreography of the fights is mind-boggling. You can feel the amount of passion that was put into this production. It just radiates the love and care of those who created it. You might think I'm being overly dramatic, but I assure you I'm not. It really just has fights that good. While Fog Hill of Five Elements undeniably has jaw-dropping visuals, I don't think it's a perfect show. Don't get me wrong, I think it's really, really good, and I'm anxiously awaiting any news of the new season dropping. but I think its weakest point is its plot and subsequently its pacing. I find that while there is a cohesive narrative that does seem well thought out and is certainly interesting enough to grab and keep your attention, that it does feel a bit surface level at points. I think this, in large part, can be attributed to the runtime. This is the second show that I've watched and reviewed on this channel that had this shorter, more condensed runtime, with the other show being Vampire in the Garden. Two completely different shows in completely different genres. But like Fog Hill 5 Elements' 7-episode runtime, Vampire in the Garden has 5 episodes. One of my big problems with that show was that it felt like they couldn't decide where to go with the premise, that they couldn't fully commit one way or the other. In my opinion, it either warranted more runtime within its season so certain plot points could be fleshed out, or it should have been condensed, cutting out certain plot points. Going one way or the other with these changes would have made it either into a more solid show or a really tight movie experience. I think Fog Hill 5 Elements has a compelling enough plot to where I wouldn't want it to be any shorter than it already is. I just wish that there was more time for us to learn about this world in more depth. We get backstory in later episodes that's really great and does add perspective to our protagonist. But it's a very fine balance of them making the story go, 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 and taking these moments of respite so the viewer can actually understand what's going on. It's not that I believe that the pacing is too fast for its own good. I think they did well with the time they have, but I think if they had more resources and the opportunity to flesh the show out into 12-episode seasons, that we would have a vastly different and more immersive story. The plot is certainly not bad, but there isn't enough runtime to go much deeper than a surface level. I know it may be surprising to hear since I just dogged on the plot and pacing of the show a bit, but I think the characterization is executed incredibly well. The way that emotion is portrayed, both visually and through story beats, and how each character, no matter how silly, ends up feeling like a layered individual, shows just how well done the series is. Not to mention the plot twists that come along with certain characters, shedding a new light on someone we thought we got familiar with. It's exceptional. Even side characters feel like they have their place, and Lord knows, there are a lot of them. It can feel overwhelming at times just how many characters there are, and how quickly they're introduced to us, but you'll adjust relatively quickly. It's never beyond the scope of something that's minorly confusing. Fog Hill 5 Elements is unlike almost anything I've seen before, but as I mentioned earlier, this show is visually very similar to the 2D portions of To Be Hero X, with the iconic chunky lines and the vibrant color scheme. But much like that show, Fog Hill 5 Elements doesn't stick to just this style. Now, it doesn't change it up that much. You won't be seeing anyone in fully rendered 3D, but there are some stark contrasts within the series that provide some seriously needed variety. When comparing the show story-wise to other donghua I've watched, like Lord of Mysteries and Link Click, this feels like a solid addition. Much like anime, every show is telling a different story. It's not easy to fit everything into one box. Each show accomplishes different things, and you watch them for different purposes. That's why I can't really be like, when looking at other donghua, this show does XYZ different, because that would be doing a disservice to these stories. Lord of Mysteries is a deep and fleshed out world that takes place in a moody and unique Old English environment. Link Click is a slowly unfurling drama that tackles suspense and interpersonal relationships in a way that I've never seen done before. You aren't checking out Fog Hill 5 Elements for either of these reasons. You're checking it out because it's a stunning fantasy series with a heavy focus on martial arts. It's a visual spectacle that rivals some of the best series out today, and it's unique from the other donghua I've seen. I am so glad I found Fog Hill 5 Elements. I've never heard anyone speak about this show before, and when you look it up, besides a pretty comprehensive fandom wiki, it seems relatively unknown. But now that I've seen it, I can't wait to see how it wraps up. Despite the series not being complete yet, I think it's worth checking out now. I mean, it's only 7 episodes, so even if you end up not liking it, the time investment, if you watched all of it, isn't even that severe. And if you do end up liking it, I've seen rumors that the 3rd and final season will be releasing later this year, or maybe early next year, but I'm hoping for the best, okay? Whether you want a solid story that you can sink your teeth into, or just something pretty to stare at, this is a show that you should consider watching. It's worth your time. Hey everyone, I just want to say thank you if you made it this far into the video. I really appreciate it. If you like this video, you'll probably like the one on screen now. Do you agree with my take that Fog Hill 5 Elements is a really solid donghua, or do you think it pales in comparison to the other greats? Let me know what you think in the comments down below. I read them all. Be sure to like and subscribe if you want to see more stuff like this. And as always, have a great day.